Episode 46, Reintroduction of the Seven Values.
Awaken the leader inside. Follow the path of leadership. Never give up. Never stop trying. Get up. Believe in yourself. Not every day is going to be easy, but you got to challenge yourself. You need courage. Be ready. Stop waiting for it to happen. Go make it happen. Harness the power within. You were destined to be a leader. Follow the path of leadership. Awaken the leader inside.
Episode 46, Reintroduction of the Seven Values.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Dave Rubalcava, and I'm your host here at Awaken the Leader Inside, a show dedicated to your leadership journey. Remember, you are never alone. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode, and if this is your first time tuning in, I appreciate it. Hey, I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate all of the feedback I've been getting lately. It's really cool to see people starting to add to our Facebook group at Lee Nation. I really, truly appreciate it. It's cool to see people wanting to be a part of our movement at Lee Nation. So thank you so much. So hey guys, today I just wanted to reintroduce you guys to the 7 values of leadership. And like I've mentioned before, this is something that really truly helped me grow. And even till this day, I still use the 7 values as a way to completely assess my leadership and break it down from individual performance to team performance to overall driving results. So I like to bring this back because I really think, honestly, I've kind of veered off the path because of, life events and just kind of the show's kind of taken its own legs and it's grown, and it's really cool to be a part of that. And sometimes I love sharing the things that are happening to me real world, but I also want you guys to remember that at the core of all of these things, all of these events, there is a structured way that I identify my leadership. And every obstacle that I face, I always assess it through the 7 values of leadership, which we'll break down each one of them a little bit later. But I really wanted us to kind of talk about it because I know that it's really easy to kind of just say, okay, I got to just tough it out and things will get better. And I'll be honest with you, that's never really the reality. The reality is that in every event that happens to us as a leader, we have to dissect it and understand what happened. And sometimes we just have to understand where we were at as a leader and whether or not we contributed to our own failures or whether we contributed to getting out of those struggles by the use of our leadership. So the better that you get at identifying which part of your leadership value let you down, it's easier to identify like, hey, you know what? Maybe we struggled today because I didn't communicate effectively. So what does that mean? What part of my communication did I fail at? Or maybe today I wasn't accountable for what my decision making was, or I wasn't accountable to deliver results. So it kind of gives you a way to break down your decision making into an actual value that you can use. And like any muscle, you guys, the more you actively pursue fixing the things that we're struggling with, and that really truly is the key to growing, is working on what we're struggling with. Because I'm going to tell you right now, your natural strengths will always be your strengths. You will always use and rely on them. But to become an effective leader, you have to be comfortable identifying what you're struggling with. And for some of you, it might be surprising that a lot of my energy, maybe 60 to 70%, is consciously going towards what I know I'm not good at, what I know I'm struggling with today. And I put a lot of energy into that to counterbalance it. And that is self-awareness. The better you get at identifying through self-awareness, you will become proactive to course correct even when you know and recognize your leadership is failing you right now. That is huge. That is the core to everything to be successful. Being great at certain values that's awesome. But the truth is, if you're not self-aware of the values that you're failing at, the 7 values of leadership, if you can't identify which ones you continue to struggle with, then you're never going to grow. And I've used this analogy before, way back in the beginning of this podcast. If your weakness is hitting the curveball, and they just keep throwing the curveball at you and you don't work at it and you just expect that one day you're going to be able to hit it, you're going to continue to strike out time after time because you won't change. You won't accept that that is a weakness. Well, leadership is the same exact way. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of run through the 7 values again, just to kind of reignite it, bring some life into it. And then I want us to be able to think about these as you face your obstacles. And I want you to share stuff with me. Share it on Facebook. Message me. Let me know as you work on the 7 values of leadership, which ones are your strengths. Because naturally you're going to have 2 to 3 strengths, and then you may have 2 weaknesses. Identify those opportunities and start working at it. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to go through the list of the 7 values of leadership. Okay, so first on the list is accountability. Accountability is important to everything. You've got to be accountable for your actions. You've got to be accountable for failures, even if you didn't create them, but you were involved with them. You got to be accountable. And that helps you build on your self-awareness, your adaptability, and overall your personal growth. It all starts with accountability. The next one is rigor. Rigor is by far my favorite value because to me it's really simple. You got to be tough. You got to keep fighting. You got to know when to keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and it's really truly the way to become action orientated. Leadership is about action. Your growth and personal development is about taking action and being proactive. And rigor also kind of forces you to become a situational leader. And that means that sometimes stuff happens. You get something thrown at you without having any information, and you're going to have to react. And the better you get at operating in the gray, that's what I love to call it, operating in the gray, not black or white, it's kind of gray. That's going to strengthen your leadership. For me, that is a natural strength. For me, I love operating in the gray. I'm good at having curveballs thrown at me, and I'm willing to do what it takes to hit it. The next one is demonstrating courage. So demonstrating courage is such an important factor because it's going to make you get out of your comfort zone. It's going to force you to be able to lead change. Sometimes it's going to make you become vulnerable where you have to actually be transparent and be open and honest. And that sometimes is extremely uncomfortable when you put yourself in that position. But being transparent and open and honest is a key way to demonstrate your courage that you want to grow. And sometimes demonstrating courage forces you to challenge the status quo. So how many times have we been in that situation where you know that you've got to challenge a situation because if you don't, things never change or the environment continues to be poor. So sometimes you got to stand up, and that is going to take courage. Communicate effectively. We all talk about communication. We want more. But guess what? You have to be able to communicate effectively by delivering clear and concise direction to your team or to your peers or upward management. Communicating effectively is also being an active listener. See, I think about communicating effectively, the picture pops in my head of somebody standing on a soapbox and they're telling and talking and communicating, and that's their perception of effective communication. But really, communication is about understanding what the need is. And what better way would that come from you being an active listener? I feel like I'm an effective communicator because I understand, I listen, I try to take time to understand so that way I know how to lead my team in the right direction. And then I develop a strong plan to lead them in that direction. Now, the next value is being team orientated. And that means you are driving team morale. Don't underestimate how important morale is to change a culture. But it starts with you. You are at the core. You are at the center of the morale in your department, or for those that you lead. They look to you to mimic your leadership. So if it's not important to you, if team morale is not important to you, you're going to struggle when you have to move the boulder together. And it really forces you to build trust. Trust is the key. If you don't trust your team, they're not going to trust you. They are not going to go to bat for you. Trust comes with time, sacrificing for each other, and being there for each other. So you have to champion this and teach them how. And I also feel that being team oriented, you have to develop others. That is the crucial piece to growing as a leader, is that you got to be active in developing. And if you don't know how, reach out to me, reach out to a mentor, because that is going to be a critical component to moving the pieces quickly as you learn to develop and navigate through the playing field with others and teaching them how to be successful. The next value is being customer focused, and this is pretty straightforward, you guys. Part of your leadership is teaching others how to be successful and deliver exceptional customer service. And I'm going to add one on top of that. Delivering exceptional customer service even when you don't want to, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're feeling, down or sick or you're tired. Doesn't matter. You got to deliver that, because if you teach your team to be consistent, that is how you create a brand of exceptional customer service that will continue to build business and build and expand your business. So it's extremely important that you hold that one to heart. Probably one of the most difficult ones. I'll be honest with you. Being customer focused is very difficult, and it's probably a focus for me that I have to consciously work at it. Consciously keep pushing myself to stay in the right mindset so that I continue to deliver that result. And the very last value, which is kind of the sum, to me, it's the sum of all of these leadership values, is becoming results driven. And part of that is learning to be a strategic planner. Now, like I said, I love rigor. Rigor is great. You're action oriented, but sometimes that is not necessarily the way that you can continue to lead for a long period of time. Strategic planning takes an assessment of where you're at, where your team's at, understanding their needs, problem solving, how you're going to get to your objectives, and understanding the overall big picture and how to navigate through that field with your team. And it also requires that you use a lot of follow-up in that process. And the last piece to that is definitely becoming goal-oriented. So to me, it's the final piece that ties all the other values together, because if you can do the other 6 values and drive them, then results start to happen, because you can step back. You can step out of the process and now start to lead them, versus you having to be in the trenches leading the charge. You can kind of stand back and lead with, more strategy and more finesse to get you to the result. You get to see the picture a little clearer when you're not in the trenches. So I just kind of wanted you guys to start thinking about this. So as we move forward, I'm going to try to start integrating at least, one value into what's happening. So that way you guys can see it from that angle, how I had to use this specific value to help me through this problem. Now, I want to remind you guys, on our website, if you actually pull down the menu on the Leadership Podcast, you'll actually see that you can go into each one of these values individually and listen to the podcast that had that value. So any podcast, I've been categorizing them behind the scenes that has to do with accountability. If you click on the accountability tab, then all of the podcasts that have to do with that. So it's kind of a cool way so that you can retrieve very specific values and then the podcast based on that value. So, and I'm hoping that really helps you guys. All right. So, and I just wanted to leave you with one last thing, you guys. I wanted to share something that I've been working on for months now, trying to prepare for you guys. And I really, truly think for those of you that want to grow, it's going to be a great thing for you. So I am getting ready to release our first online course called How to Get Promoted. And in this online course, we talk about promotable qualities. We talk about a 30, 60, 90-day plan. We talk about, how to get feedback from your direct leader and how you can use that to build an IDP. So it's a great tool that I'm going to be offering an online course that you can purchase hopefully in the next few weeks. So I'm working on it. But for now, we actually set up a wait list. So I'll add the link in here, but I'm really excited. I know you guys are going to get a lot from it, and it's really cool to finally be able to show something that I've been working on to help you guys grow. So once again, I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. If you know anyone that needs help with leadership, share this podcast with them. Share with them, and then let them know that we are a nation together. We are the Atlee Nation. We are the future leaders of this world, and I truly appreciate everything you guys do. Never forget that you have the power to change the course of your career and to change the course of your life. It all starts with taking the first step to identifying what's holding you back. And I know you can do that. So share your stories, guys. Share what you're learning out there. Share it at Atlee Nation, our Facebook group. Share what's going on in your world and the difference that you're making. I'd love to hear it. If you guys ever need anything, make sure to email me at david@awakentheleaderinside.com, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned for another episode. Always remember, awaken the leader inside.